a Smurf. Not Smurf or Smurf.
Yeah.
not this Smurfs and all that. No, fuck a Smurf.
How does one fuck a Smurf? Actually, because
don't you have to like grab like about 8 of them together and form them into one? Big Smurf?
Yeah. Well, Corey and Leon couldn't fuck a Smurf. I might be able to. But let's call a moratorium on the Smurfing anything, using that as an adjective. You're like, no.
Hey, Smurf you don't tell me what to do.
That's why I said that. That's why I was like, I ain't Smurfing nothing. He's either gonna fuck a Smurf, shit on a Smurf, do any of that, because I ain't doing that Smurf shit. You know, I'm getting tired. I read so many reviews where it's like, this movie is Smurfs. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah,
that's clever.
Yeah, we all looking at you because we knew you'd be the first one to do it.
Captain Obvious cliche over here.
Oh,
Don't Smurf yourself.
Don't let them Smurf you like that.
But man,
That
you know
is
what?
why you fail.
Yeah, I thought I was doing something good too by putting into it. I just created a monster.
Yeah, you did.
Honestly, I'm being a little harsher than I need to be because I didn't hate this. I'll be honest with you. I did not hate this at all. I didn't like it, but I read so many things about this where they said it was mean-spirited and it was kind of almost a way just to get all this adult humor in there to go over kids' heads. And I didn't see it like that. I just saw it kind of dull.
It's not like there's anything redeeming about it per se. I mean, it's crap. It's just pointless mass marketing product placement shit. But it's not mean-spirited. I mean, I won't say I was, like, angry at it except for maybe when they were in FAO Schwartz and every shot had a product in it.
Yeah, they're in the toy store swimming in big plates of blue M&Ms. They're riding on taxi cabs that have advertisements for Blu-ray that they're standing right in front of. Yeah, it's all in there.
Even Katy Perry, who's playing Smurfette in the movie, like does one of her, I kissed a Smurfette and I liked it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she pulls that line, or I'm like, Katy Perry, you're in the movie, all right? I know this. This is the one thing I do know. You don't have to don't sell me that fucking album again.
The worst part is that's what's most offensive about the film is the non-stop trying to sell you on other things and remind you of everything. And I think that, like, for me, if it wasn't for all that and how incessant it is, I wouldn't have actually minded this so much. I would have gone like, well, it is what it is.
Part of the plot has to deal with advertising, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. So was it written by Morgan Spurlock? The thing is,
it wasn't ironic.
I mean, you guys are saying like, man, these guys, they just tried to cram as many products as they could in here. But for all we know, these companies were beating down the door to have their products associated with Smurfs.
Well, I'm sure
because everybody loves Smurfs.
I'm sure they were, because Smurfs used to be a billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
See?
They were huge, and they're like, the time of Smurfs may have returned, and we are going to cautiously place our products in it just in case.
The key word in that sentence is used to be.
Well, I don't understand how that happened before. I mean, I was never a fan of this cartoon.
Smurfs are a huge phenomenon. I mean, they before the 80s, they were huge. I mean,
they date back to the 50s.
Well, yeah. I mean, I used to be a big Smurf enthusiast back in the day. I love Smurfs, man.
Really? Have you looked around this room?
Back in the day, I used to collect a lot of Smurf stuff. I used to have the cereal. I used to have stuffed Smurfs. I used to pick up midget prostitutes and paint them blue. I used to love the Smurf. I had the Smurf ColecoVision. You remember the ColecoVision game?
Of course. That was actually a good game. I'll hand it to you. The Smurfs game was a good game.
Used to go to bed dressed up in footy pajamas, no shirt and a hat. I mean, I used to
dress up as Papa Smurf going to bed.
That's today. I grow my gray beard out.
That's kind of creepy.
Put on some red pajamas, look like an old miner.
What the fuck is wrong with that little kid over there dressing up like Papa Smurf?
I used to love the Smurfs back in the day. I used to know the history of the Smurfs. That's why I said Smurfs used to be a huge industry, because back in the day, the Smurfs were created by Monsieur Pierre Colliford
as a spin-off to another comic book originally.
What was? I did not know that.
They were
sorry?
Asterix and Obelix?
No, it was a totally different comic.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of them, but they showed up as characters themselves in the Smurfs cartoon and everything. They were like two humans.
Oh.
And it was their book, and the Smurfs were minor characters in there, and then Smurfs got their own spin-off and outshadowed completely the original book.
I know who you're talking about. Johan and Pee-wee. It was, and they were in the Smurfs cartoon.
Yeah.
Dark-haired, tall one, and then he had a short, blonde-haired sidekick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that cartoon was first.
That's what started. Also, did you know that the first people ever to do zombies were the Smurfs?
Get
They
out of here.
predated Night of the Living Dead. There was a zombie Smurf story.
I think, Tom, you can see in Dawn of the Dead, Tom Savini. He definitely had the purple, the blue zombies for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that, man. You know a lot about fucking Smurfs.
I
dude.
read Wikipedia carefully today.
God,
Actually,
damn.
you're right about that Smurf zombie book. I thought that was a joke.
Yeah, that's
'Cause
real.
that went around recently, and
Yeah.
I thought like, is this real? And so that is real.
No, you can find the whole thing online. It's like this thing would make them turn purple, and they would go and try and bite the other Smurfs. And if you got bit by one of the purple Smurfs, then you'd become sort of animalistic and turn purple and try and bite more. So it was
Wow,
it was
okay.
fucking
'Cause-
zombie Smurfs.
Yeah, because I was about to say the whole zombie thing. I was like, man, okay, you're going a little too far. But when you're throwing Smurfs in, I'm like, maybe they haven't gone that far because that at least that sounds interesting.
I would have been excited about seeing that Smurf movie.
Oh, easily, yes.
Now you sit up and you talk about Smurfs. Even George Romero was influenced by Smurfs.
I know he told me.
So
What, you mean just now, speaking in your head?
Yeah.
co-host. Even I love
yeah.
the Smurfs.
A lot of things happen in my head while you guys are talking.
Oh, fair enough.
No. So Smurfs, I thought were very cool. I mean, they had a long, rich history, which is why I'm looking at this movie and I'm thinking, I'm not going to say you could have had like a really deep, I don't know, smart, intelligent Smurf movie, but you could have had more than what they did here. My problem with this film is that it's just lazy. Whenever you get a property like this and you don't know what else to do with it, just take it to New York. And when they get to New York, the big joke will be, oh, New York is so crazy that not only will these creatures get into all these adventures, but hardly anybody's going to notice them. And then, like you said, there's tons of places for advertising there. I mean, when they get to New York, it's they do exactly what every movie has these characters do. They ride on the subway.
Yeah.
They run into crazy people on the street who think it's normal for them to be there. They go to FAO Schwartz. What I mean?
Surprisingly, that was the only landmark they visited. I was waiting for the Statue of Liberty or something else, like the Empire State Building. Just going, oh God, here we go. But thankfully, they stopped with FAO.
I was waiting for that scene like in The Godfather, like when Michael Corleone's looking out, he sees the Statue of Liberty as soon as he's coming into the fort. I was waiting for the Smurfs to do that, like a migration or something. But then I was like, oh, they're throwing in this whole like time warp suction hole or something. But okay. The thing is, the problem with this movie too, and I'll let you know, is that at the beginning, it starts off pretty cool, like pretty interesting, like you'd imagine. Like, all right, I finally get to see Smurf Village in live action. Cool. See Smurf Village, see Gargamel, see Azrael the cat, and then all of a sudden, once again, it goddamn pulls a He-Man on me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, you know what? This would have been far more interesting if you would have kept shit here on Smurf Village, because this is why I'm coming to see the Smurfs. And then they get sucked into the real world. They get sucked to Earth. And I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
This has been done to death. I've been to New York once, and that was enough. And I was like, that's great. See all the buildings and stuff, but I've seen this in a billion other fucking movies. One of them's Alvin and the Chipmunks, where, it's all of a sudden, it's like they're trying to modernize and make the Smurfs hip. And I'm like, all right, now I don't give a shit. And you know what? Kids don't give a shit.
So it would have been better had they gone and just made it pretty much Avatar 2.
Yeah, easily. That shit would have been a
And they just live
blockbuster.
in Smurf Village the
Yeah.
whole time, riding mini pterodactyls.
What would've
James
been-
Cameron would have fucking be directing the sequel right now.
What would have been better is if they had not made it at all, in fact, because it's the fucking Smurfs. Why can't they just be a comic book?
It has
and
a following,
cartoon?
dude. It has a following. How are they not? I mean, they're still smelling. I don't know if you've been to a store lately, but like it seems like in the past 4 years, I've been seeing like this whole resurgence of Smurfs. I mean, they're even putting the toys back out. Not just because of the movie. I've seen Smurf toys before this movie even was like talked about, honestly. But yeah, I mean, they're still popular. I still know people that collect this shit.
The cartoon is very popular. It's been described as crack for kids coming up in the 80s. It's just a bunch of Smurfs, like 100 of them, who all have one father, Papa Smurf, and they all have different personalities. And getting these adventures, running from Gargamel and his cat Azrael. And the movie actually kind of follows close to that when it starts out. They are hanging out in Smurf Village. They got these little houses made out of peyote, and they're walking around doing their own thing in a little Smurfy way. And it's Hank Azaria is the Gargamel.
Right.
And even Hank, when he comes in, I'm like, all right, you know what? This you could say that this is kind of somebody who just has, I guess, no shame doing this, but he actually did a pretty good Gargamel if he kept up with the cartoon back in the day.
He was the funniest thing about the movie, honestly.
Seriously?
Every scene he was in, I was laughing.
I don't think I laughed per se, but I will hand it to him that he was shameless in the best possible way he could have been. He totally dove in. He was clearly having fun with it. There's scenes that felt like he probably just made up on the spot, and they're like, oh, that's good, let's get that. And those are the high points of the film.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Papa Smurf. I'm the head of a small group of blue people and live in the forest with 99 sons and 1 daughter. Nothing weird about that. No. Totally normal.
But all of that is about to change. Asriel, that's your cue to pounce on the miserable beastman. Some kind of a rage-induced feline frenzy. Good, get more rage. Hey, but don't go crazy. These are the only puppets I have. I am not obsessed with Smurfs, thank you. Because I need them. It's only by capturing the little wretches and extracting the happy blue essence that my magic will finally become invincible. Yeah, but you're milking it. Don't milk it.
The Smurfs themselves are just tedious. I mean, like, there are points that Papa Smurf literally says like 4 times, I'm getting too old for this. And you're just like, really? Are you? Okay. Goodbye.
There's this blue moon that's about to come up, which I thought just meant all the Smurfs gonna pull their pants down and flash the fucking camera. But every now and then, I guess once every 100 years or something, a blue moon comes up, creates a portal, and these Smurfs get caught up in it while they're running from Gargamel. He's destroying their village. Now, lo and behold, out of all these years, you never knew that this portal was going to like New York. I guess it was once going to New Amsterdam at one time or something. But they, to escape from Gargamel, a few of the Smurfs take a wrong turn and end up going through the portal and end up in New York. Now, when they get to New York, it shifts. It doesn't really stick on the Smurfs anymore. They decide to like follow this story of a guy who works in the advertising business, played by Neil Patrick Harris, and his pregnant wife.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
It could happen.
I know.
I know, but you're looking at this and like, why, man? And then it's like, okay, where this movie, for what it was worth at the beginning, was sticking close to whatever this source material was. All of a sudden, once they introduce the storyline, they don't know what to do with the Smurfs.
Because once again, like I said with the He-Man thing, they introduce you to 2 characters which you're not familiar with, and the movie doesn't make interesting at all, and you're wondering, why am I stuck giving a shit about this guy and his wife, and why don't we focus back on the Smurfs again? Because all of a sudden, this is turning into something else. This is turning into something I don't want to see.
Because you have a star attached.
The guy and his wife, they're trying to do like this parallel story because she's pregnant and he's nervous about having a kid coming up. And it's that whole like, well, what's the problem with having a bunch of little people running around to take care of? What's wrong with you and having to assume responsibility for helping these Smurfs? And you're like, oh, I see what they're really talking about. But the Smurfs, they invent this bullshit because they're like, okay, well, I guess we got to get back home. So they're like, well, we've got to figure out how to do a blue moon here, so I guess we need a telescope. And 3/4 of the film is them misinterpreting things people say and going around places looking for a telescope.
And the thing you just said is they needed a star.
Yeah.
They already have a star. It's called Smurfs. I mean, the Smurfs made a shitload of money on being exactly who they are. Not necessarily Neil Patrick Harris. A lot of little kids are going to run in here. I'm sure they're going to know who the Smurfs are before they know who the fuck Neil Patrick Harris is.
Dude, how does Smurfs more popular than Doogie Howser? Come on.
It happens, all right?
That was 20 years ago, right?
All right. I didn't think Doogie Howser was cool until I found out he was gay, all right? So.
But see, the problem is that when they have nothing for the Smurfs to do, they say, well, we got to keep the kids interested. Let's just have the Smurfs do something hip and cool. Let's have the Smurfs rapping. Now these Smurfs just these Smurfs never had bought a hip hop record. There's no Smurf named Rappy Smurf or Hippity Hoppity Smurf. There's no DJ Smurf. There's no DJ Smurf in here. No
Black
gotta
Smurf.
Be by now.
By now, yeah. There's no Negro Smurf, anything like Blackity Black Smurf. But all of a sudden, but all of a sudden, these Smurfs know how to rap. Oh, we don't have anything to do. The Smurfs have already rapped this. Let's have them play Guitar Hero. Hey, the kids love Guitar Hero. Let's have the Smurfs play some Guitar Hero right here.
Well, let me ask you this: do they tear up Neil Patrick Harris's house?
By accident. They have the.
That always has to be.
Imagine if you took the Gremlins.
Yeah.
And gave them like really sweet personalities, and they had the best of intentions, but just by virtue of being gremlins, they had to tear up shit.
No,
Leon, I thought you were gonna say, did they tear up his ass? I'm like, come on, dude, that's not
I wasn't gonna
appropriate.
say that.
That is dirty,
Put
man.
a Smurf
It ain't
in
that
his
kind of
mouth.
movie, dude.
It's like Richard Gere.
Exactly.
With a
Exactly what I was thinking about.
There's an urban legend that says Neil Patrick Harris stuck a Smurf up his ass.
But it's like, I gotta know
I
what
hear
this
it's
feels
kinky.
like.
It's just a rule with these movies, like with Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's like, okay, the first thing they got to do is tear up the house.
And
Not meaning to, but somehow they got to tear
well,
it up.
it doesn't help that you have one Smurf named Clumsy Smurf.
Who's kind of the main Smurf, really,
Yeah.
of the story in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you start off in Smurf Village, he's, like, sad because everyone's like, look, Clumsy, we're not trying to say we don't like you, but don't come to the party because you'll just tear shit up.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's constantly knocking shit over. And one of the themes of the film is that why should your, Smurf title define you? Which I'm sure is an issue for children everywhere. But, you don't have
The
to
asshole
be
title, that
just
sucks.
Clumsy Smurf. You could be Hero Smurf. And that's really one of the main
and at that
themes.
point, Hero Smurf chimes in and goes like, no, he can't.
I already Hero
got that
Smurf.
covered.
That's what he's looking for.
And stop sitting around being sad because we picked on you because
Yeah.
there's already emo Smurf.
Yeah, you see this cape?
Yeah. Out of all of this bad stuff that's going on, I mean, there's enough there to keep the kids interested. But for anybody who remembers the Smurfs from back in the day, one of the biggest complaints was, because I was looking at it, I was like, hey, there's like about 96 more Smurfs that they're not giving attention to. How dare, this is no Smurfs that I know. And then I look at the movie, and I'm like, well, it's kind of cool that, of course, they can't do 100 Smurfs on the screen at one time through the whole film, but they do a good job at like showing you most of the Smurfs at the beginning of the movie and then bringing them in at the end. So you get a look at like all the different personalities that you know from the cartoon. The Smurfs themselves, I thought they actually did a good job making them actually make the transition from the cartoon characters that we see in 2D and the animated shows and in the comics to actually being three-dimensional characters. Three-dimensional in appearance, not personality, by the way,
Right.
on the screen. Oh, that actually looked pretty cool. I even like what they did with Azrael the cat.
The CG that they use on Azrael, there's times when it works, and there's other times where it's like, okay, now it's getting too goofy because like they'll do one of those things. It's almost like they'll show you a real cat, and then they'll show you the goofy face, and then they'll go back to the real cat real quick, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? There's better ways to make that seamless, all right?
Well, yeah, I was just happy that it just wasn't a cat that they just threw in there. They actually did some CG. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good.
Yeah, sometimes they try a little too hard to make his facial expressions wacky, where it was like, "Whoa, that's really disconcerting looking."
Yeah, that's just creepy looking. But
Yeah.
I mean, when I was watching it, there was a bunch of kids in there who they didn't give a fuck. They were 5 years old, and that's who the movie is meant for, and they were having a good time. And as long as there was a Smurf on screen at some point, I mean, you're right. When there was not a Smurf on screen, they were losing their shit. They were going crazy. But whenever there was at least one Smurf on screen at one time,
they were interested. Then.
they were fine.
They wanted to follow those Smurfs wherever that little blue path led.
Yeah.
Where if you have any sense in your head, it's funny to notice that the kids give a shit about the Smurfs, and when Gargamel's on, I give a shit about Gargamel. So the kids probably tune out at that moment. But I mean, honestly, I have to hand it to Hank Azaria. I mean, he really saved this movie for me because I was after hearing nothing but terrible reviews about this. I was like, maybe I'll stay through half of it, and if it's that bad, I'll fucking walk the fuck out and make up the review or something. But the thing is, he did keep me interested in throughout the whole movie.
Oh, and did
shockingly.
we mention that co-hosts like Gargamel in this?
That's the one bright spot about it. I mean, shit.
Well, my only problem with Gargamel is that Gargamel is so mean is that he's at a restaurant and a waiter walks by with a bucket of wine and he takes the bucket, because he's from medieval times. He's thinking it's a pot to piss in. He actually walks behind like a bush in the restaurant and pisses in the bucket and then gives it back to the waiter. And of course the waiter's like, well, I never, nobody calls security.
See, I thought that was hilarious. Only because the way he's like, take that, bud, get out of here.
I'm looking around with that chamber pot.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking at him like, for this movie, that was unnecessary. They didn't need to do that.
You know what? I don't think there's any. Really, are we going to say kids shouldn't be exposed to peeing jokes? I mean, really? Is that where you draw the line? That's adult?
No, I didn't say that they shouldn't be exposed to it. I just said the movie didn't need it.
Oh, it didn't need it. No
I
question.
thought it needed it.
But that's
I
just
needed to laugh.
because we hate those, the non sequitur gross out jokes. You're like, really? It just
didn't fit the tone of the film. It was like, I said, for whatever this is worth, it's not really going that low. And then it did hit that low. And I was just like, Well, there
Really?
was nothing here to really fit the, for
I
that.
can't agree with that.
I don't know, man.
And why is this the first big movie for that girl from Modern Family? What's her name? Vera.
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, Sophia Vergara.
Was that the wife?
Who is no. She is the woman who plays
She's the boss.
Neil Patrick Harris's boss,
Yeah.
and she is just one huge package of hotness, and she is super funny. And you're like, wow, the Smurfs is what they bring her into. I mean, she's like an
Hey.
Emmy-nominated actress, and you're like, and she's a huge star in Spanish like movies and stuff. But
Well, she's been in a bunch of different movies, just like Chasing Poppy and Medea Goes to Jail.
oh, was she in a Medea movie? I didn't realize that.
Oh, that was her. Medea Goes to Jail.
Yeah.
Well, she's strong enough that she should be getting bigger roles.
Well,
than this.
now she's on Modern Family where everybody's exposed to her.
Yeah, and
so-
I wish she would be exposed to us.
Well, she's barely in it to where it's like
Yeah.
she's good for what she's playing, but they
she's
could have
an
cashed
odd-
anybody in that
She's an
role.
odd choice for the role of a sort of unforgiving boss. I don't know if you want to do the reviews yet or
Yeah,
ratings?
yeah, the ratings,
well.
but it's just programmed to make your kids want stuff, and on that level. The only thing that's worth saving or mentioning about it is indeed, as co-host pointed out, Gargamel, Hank Azaria, who although it gets thin pretty quick, at least he's trying. So I am giving this a low rental, which is probably being too fair.
I'm just gonna give it a rental. I mean, I already told you up and down what I thought about it. I mean, if the movie had just been about the Smurfs and Smurf Village with Gargamel chasing him, that would have made a far entertaining movie. Hell, even like. Don't make it live action. Like, look at Winnie the Pooh. Look at what Winnie the Pooh did. Just make a really fucking gorgeous looking, like, 2D animated Smurfs movie. And boom, right there. There you go. You got it all there in that package. But no.
Also, Winnie the Pooh did was debut at number 6.
But you know what? At least it would have kept its goddamn integrity, all right? At least Smurf fans would have gone, all right, of course, who in the fuck is going to come see this? Except me. But you know what? I got a good movie out of it. So, yeah, it's just a fucking rental.
Well, studio isn't gonna be content with a good movie. They ain't got no money behind it.
Fuck the studio.
Yeah,
Smurf the studio.
Bulldoze right now.
Well,
Yeah.
what the fans want to know is, what did the Smurf fan think of it?
That's right.
Yeah, you're the guy who's the
resident Smurf fan.
Smurf
Yeah, Mr.
guy.
I sleep. I go to bed dressed up as Papa Smurf.
Put your degree in Smurfology to work.
Nah, you know what? Like I said, I realize that there's something here that's charming about the Smurfs that they could have made a movie with. And I think that they just sacrificed that to just make the Smurfs a little bit too hip. Like I said, I saw that poster with Papa Smurf wearing shades.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Papa Smurf would look at this and just say, I would never do that. And
I never signed on to this.
and it hurts. It hurts to see that, So
You drop enough Smurf hookers on anybody, and they're going to sign at some point.
Yeah,
enough Smurf blow and
Hey, man, he had to pay the mortgage on Smurf Village.
yeah, but you know what?
Bank was going to foreclose.
Yo, he
It's
said,
small enough they could have done it in an hour.
Shit, Papa Smurf said, "What you talking about?" With shaking my head. I need to get paid too, bitch. Shit, hey, you goddamn right. I took this check.
I got 100 kids to support.
Yeah, exactly. Went on top of a mushroom and said, "I'm selling all you motherfuckers out today." You didn't ask us, Papa Smurf. I ain't gotta ask you a goddamn thing. Y'all want to eat? A little mushroom house you got to eat? That's a mortgage, bitch. So I don't blame. The Smurfs are doing this. I actually...
The actual Smurfs didn't do this, right?
Don't you ever say that. You shut your goddamn mouth.
Film me, Smurf was shitty.
Hell yeah. No, I did not hate this, like I said. I saw the points where it was faithful to the creation of my man Peyo out there. I really enjoyed the beginning of the movie. There are certain parts where I thought it was sweet within when they were in New York. This whole thing of relating to Neil Patrick Harris's family, the relation that Clumsy Smurf formed with the wife and everything. Which, by the way, I wanted some funny business going on when Neil Patrick Harris wasn't in the house.
Who played his wife?
Oh, that's a good question. Who did play his wife? Jamie Mays.
Oh, I don't know her.
She's cute.
Yeah.
She's kind of wide-eyed and like, oh, isn't everything wonderful? She's that kind of person.
Yeah, she's kind of got a gizmo face too, but she's
Yeah, she
she's
does.
cute.
Yeah, she does. She looks like Gizmo. You're right.
Yeah.
Less fur, perhaps.
Yeah, no, not as furry. If Gizmo got a perm, but
Damn.
But she,
Gone from a
don't get me wrong.
face to a gizmo
I'd
face.
still fuck her.
yeah. Well, shit, you fuck Smurfette. Who
Wouldn't you fuck? All right.
I would. I mean, shit, I'm that kind of guy. I'm such a Smurf fan. I'm online looking up like those Smurfette new sex pics that people draw, that sex fan art. Yeah, I do that.
It's funny because anybody else would just close their eyes and imagine it being Katy Perry, but you would close your eyes and imagine it being Smurfette.
Whenever he listens to Katy Perry albums,
Shit, let me
he's
see.
got the whole collection.
She is a blonde.
Let me see. I look at it. Smurfs are 3 apples high. My penis is about 3 apples high. Shit, I can do this. But no, you know what? I looking at, and I have fun trying to figure out who the voices of the certain Smurfs were. I mean, you got Jonathan Winters as Papa Smurf. Anton
Jonathan Winters is still alive?
That's what I
know.
thought.
That's what blew me away.
I was like,
What?
Jonathan Winters, and then I realized that I had it mixed up with that dude, the other fat guy who was in Cannonball Run.
Dom DeLuise?
Yeah, I had it mixed up with Dom DeLuise.
he is dead.
Yeah, he is dead for certain. But yeah, I had fun looking at all the voices. Anton Yelchin is Clumsy. Katy Perry, as we mentioned, is Smurfette. And I was like, this. For people doing Smurf voices, it's not that bad. I wasn't too crazy about George Lopez doing Grouchy Smurf because he just sounded like Latino Smurf sometimes. But there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it didn't sound like Grouchy Smurf. I would say I'd give it a rental. I mean, like I said, there's much more they could do with it. There's a certain cynicism that goes with it by not doing anything with it but to get cash in on these characters by putting them in the middle of New York.
I don't know. I found the movie to be a complete waste of time and I have to give it some old bullshit.
Yeah, but you didn't see it.
No, I didn't.
I was about to
You don't
say,
have to-
But based on the trailer.
You don't have to give some old bullshit too, by the way. The fact that Paul Rubin was in this movie playing Jokey Smurf,
Jokey
and
Smurf.
he is not even, he's like used for like a minute. And I'm like, really? You pulled Pee Wee Herman out of bed to come do this one like take that took like a minute to shoot, and you're not going to use him throughout the rest of the film?
They
really?
did that with some other people too. They did that with Jeff Foxworthy as Handy Smurf,
Which
and-
we're not complaining about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
I'm
how
not
you gonna
complaining.
compare
Yeah,
Paul
I'm not worried about
Rubin
him.
to
Yeah,
but
just
still,
Foxworthy?
Pee Wee Herman? Come on.
But wait a minute, the great Wolfgang Puck as Tasty Smurf, Shefty Smurf. I don't know,
Shefty,
Shefty. They used him. And I'm like, man, they I was surprised that they got these people to come in and just do like these small cameos for Smurfs that you hardly ever see in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I often tell people like, they have people who come out and they say, and this is not a joke, where they say, this person is suing this other person here because their song sounds too much
Right.
like my song. And I'm like, those coincidences happen all the time.
Yes.
Sure.
And for people who grew up with the Smurfs, the children of the 80s, who probably have children now who are taking this movie too, I challenge you to try to sing the Jay Gall song Centerfold after hearing the Smurf song. Now the Smurf song goes la 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 la. Now, if you sing the Jay Gall song Centerfold, there's a part in the middle of it where it goes like, I say I can't do it without doing the Smurf song.
Really? I could do it easily.
Do it.
Because it's just that la 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 la. That's the only part that's similar. But theirs is na 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 na. And the other one is what? La 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 la
Yeah.
la 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 la.
Yeah.
It's completely
So
different.
you fucked
key.
that all up.
Yeah.
No, it's
Fuck that Smurf song all up.
I mean, it's way different than
Just stop.
I wish, yeah,
Ice Baby and Under Pressure.
I wish the best of luck to that lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
But thinking about it, though, I was like, wow, you guys mentioned something earlier about Papa Smurf with all these goddamn kids. I was like, is Papa Smurf like the old dirty bastard of like the Smurf village as far as like, I would like to see a movie where he actually gets in the limousine after this movie makes it really big and he's going to go cash his welfare check with his fucking kids in a limo with all the Smurfs in a limo
No.
fucking just packed in there.
The Smurf village is Section 8 housing. All right.
They turned it into Section 8 housing at the end of the movie.
And Papa Smurf gets a hell of a welfare check, all right? Because all of those are his kids. Now, I don't know who he's fucking to get these kids right here.
Well, a better question is, I mean, what government is Smurf Village under that would be paying welfare?
Don't worry about that. That's too much.
Oh, that's too much.
Look, thinking too deeply.
You thinking too deep about that.
Wait a minute, you're the one bringing up Papa Smurf getting welfare.
Actually, they've established that Smurfs are magically created. Even I know not just the girl Smurf who was created by Gargamel, but the rest of them, Papa Smurf created through magic. The real question is, where did Papa Smurf come from? Huh?
Oh,
did that blow your
ooh,
mind?
that did. That
All
blew my
right,
shit.
See?
that's something for the X-Files
Well, Leon,
right there.
You ask all these questions. All you need to know is that Papa Smurf take care of his babies. Ain't no deadbeat dad there, you know.